Hello, and welcome to a very special episode of Tales from a Sex Store. I'm Hazel, and I'm here today with my co-host Billy McWilliams and
My special guest.
two guests. Yeah, we have Davi Barker
Hello.
and David Strachan. Did I pronounce that right, David?
You did.
Excellent. How is everyone doing today?
Oh, it's been great. It's been an ordeal getting here. I'm happy to be here finally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm glad it's cooled off in San Francisco. It dropped from 80 degrees to 62.
It's perfect.
Ooh, that's perfect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a very, very nice day, especially when you're stuck in a sound studio surrounded by a blanket fort.
Yeah, broadcasting live from inside the blanket fort, inside the closet.
You can get back to your childhood, you know? You're
Yeah,
safe.
Yeah.
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 So
So we're honored. These are our first special guests on our podcast, so we're thrilled to have you.
Thank
Love
you.
it first.
And
right?
yeah, you're breaking our cherry.
I'll be gentle.
Let's do a couple.
Yeah.
Well, I think we came to this podcast because Davi and I co-wrote a book together,
Okay.
and it's called The Memoir of a Reluctant Giant. It's about my life. And Davi's story is also in the book. So,
I wanna I kind of want to set up how David and I know each other.
Yeah.
Because David was instrumental in the introduction of my parents and became my godparent. They were something of a throuple at the time. And because David is intersex and biologically can't ever have children of their own, my parents invited them to witness and participate in my birth. So that's how we met.
That's so beautiful.
Wow.
and
You
then
go back, way back.
Yeah,
Davi was named after me,
yeah.
but
I was
goes by Davi.
right. I was born David,
Oh.
named after David, and
Uh-huh.
I shortened it in college, kind of as a pretentious artist name, but also as a sort of gender neutralification when I was getting more non-binary. And
Okay.
now it is kind of nom de plume is a name by which I'm known in my other books and my other dalliances.
I would like to interject that I have known you for about a year now, and pretentious is absolutely not a word that I would label you with.
Well, you didn't know me in my 20s.
I guess there's that. There's that.
Well, if you're not pretentious in your 20s, something's wrong.
You've outgrown it, though, if that was a characteristic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. And so I grew up with David in my life, and recently, this is probably 2 or 3 years ago, David has kind of always been talking about writing a memoir, and they've kept journals almost their whole life. And if you go searching for them online, you can find lots of articles that they've written about their life and intersex stuff and intersex activism and all they've won awards and things. And so I was writing my own books. Like I wrote a zombie trilogy called Survivor Max, and so when David tells me they wanna do this memoir, but they're kinda struggling to piece it all together, I'm like, "That is my specialty." And so I took all their journals and all their public utterances and basically everything I could find with them, and I boiled it down into a coherent narrative, and we went back and forth chapter by chapter, and it took a little over a year, and, now we have this book, Memoir of a Reluctant Giant, about their illustrious life.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, about the title, then, the memoir we get
Yes.
of a reluctant giant. So, how tall are you, David?
Well, when I was 17, I was 6'10", and being so tall, I couldn't disappear. and everybody expected me to act like an adult, and, I was given a lot of responsibility that was way too heavy for me. Even when I was 16, I was 6'6". No, 14, I was 6'6".
Wow.
I've shrunk an inch since I'm now in my late 70s, but, I'm still really tall, and I'm always the tallest person everywhere I go. I can't look up to another person. I'm always looking
You
down.
can't hide either.
I
You're
can't
there.
hide. So I
Right.
in the book, I say I'm really a 5'2" blonde inside.
Oh, I vibe with that feeling so hard.
Yes, I can imagine.
I think
Yeah.
there is a double meaning in the title of the book, and I think maybe David is too modest to point it out, but I also think that the title means that David has been pushed into, through their uniqueness, a position of activism and advocacy and visibility that has made
Mhm.
them a giant, figuratively.
Yeah. Just reading the article or the review article, it's like I thought to myself, "Wow, San Francisco royalty." I mean,
Yeah.
we're talking about OG,
Yeah.
back when it all started, way before it started, actually.
Well, I was the first volunteer for the Intersex Society of North America in 1994, and, Cheryl Chase was the founder of the organization, and she needed help, because we wanted to get these, infant genital surgeries stopped somehow, and there's so many a lot of people don't know that, well, with all these trans bills that are going around the country where trans people can't choose to have the health care that they need on their own bodies, intersex surgeries are continuing, and it's actually included in the language of the bill that it's okay to surgically alter the genitals of an infant
Yeah.
to make them either male or female, and in reality, it's easier to dig a hole than it is to build a pole. That's what they say.
Yeah, I've
Right.
heard that.
And so a lot of
Wow.
children that have maybe a microphallus and testes, they get turned into girls because the doctors say
Without their choice.
they're too young to make a choice. And we're saying these kinds of surgery should be stopped until the child can decide what they want done to their bodies, or maybe they like their bodies the way they are. I
Right,
mean,
Absolutely.
that's the way they're born. Why alter them to begin with?
right.
But it's a problem with transgender issues because well, it's a conundrum. What can I say?
I feel like I wanna inject a definition just in case the
Yeah.
readers don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah, good.
Intersex is not the same thing as transgender. Transgender has to do with your gender identity and what, you know, procedures or presentations that you choose as an adult to conform to your gender identity. Intersex is a biological condition. In this case, David has Klinefelter syndrome, which means that they were born with XXY sex chromosomes. They're genetically a bit in the middle, and that affects their development over time. But there's dozens of other intersex conditions and different combinations of chromosomes. It's not just XX and XY. There are also people that, for other reasons, maybe they have XX chromosomes, but they develop physically male, or maybe they have XY chromosomes, but for some reason they develop physically female. And so when people with these medical conditions are born, if their condition includes a level of biological ambiguity, they surgically alter an infant to conform to the binary.
Right.
To their choice of the binary.
Yeah, to whatever the parents and the doctor's best guess is at the time. And that is not always correct, and it isn't always not with informed consent because we're talking about infants.
Right, right. And actually I would say young adolescents as well. I know one who was, 15, he had a vaginoplasty because parents made him have it, and, and he now identifies as a man, and they took away their male parts. So he's traumatized. That's about all I can really say.
Right.
I wanna be delicate, but I honestly feel the only word is mutilated.
Mutilated.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank
It's
you.
barbaric.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it is. And this has been going on since the 50s, 60s, and 70s, and they still continue today. They're actually happening at UCSF in San Francisco.
Oh my gosh.
And this is, there's about 30 or 40 I would say intersex variations. I would prefer not to use conditions, but
Mm.
there are variations. You know, we're all sort of variations. And my syndrome, Klinefelter syndrome, so when I was conceived, the second cell division is when I got the extra X sex chromosome, and they don't know if it came from my father or my mother. But the reality is, it turned off all testicular development in my body.
Mhm.
So I don't produce sperm and I produce very little testosterone. And when I was diagnosed at the age of 29, I was put on mega doses of testosterone when my only complaint was a low sex drive. And
They wanted to, quote, "fix you."
right. And I went through a masculinizing puberty in my 30s. It was a shock.
I bet.
I mean, I had a certain kind of body type that I really loved. I had breasts. I had sort of a very smooth body and soft and very, I thought, sexy. And now it's covered with hair, and I never chose that. And then I would say within 5 years of taking those hormones, I had trouble urinating. So what happens is when you go on testosterone, it makes your prostate grow, and it grew so big that I couldn't urinate anymore, so I had to start taking medication so I could urinate.
Oh, wow.
And I
Wow.
was, like, in my mid-30s. So,
Wow.
and then by the time I was 40, I started going bald, and that's another side effect of hormone replacement therapy with testosterone. So, I mean, this is nothing I want. I had beautiful long auburn hair that disappeared because of that damn hormone. I'm very upset with the endocrinologist who did this to me. And in those days, it was 1976, doctors were God.
Right.
Yeah.
You do what they tell you to do. You don't have a choice.
Right.
And so every 2 weeks, I would go down to the nurse's office and get my 300 milligram injection into my glute, and I'd have
Ooh.
to do that every other, uh switch cheeks, glute cheeks every 2 weeks, and the reason they say that you have to do it for the rest of your life is that it turns off your natural production if you have any, and I did have some testosterone production. I don't have any now.
So
Right.
you had to continue it.
I have to do it every yeah, I have to do it. I had a normal, amount of estrogen in my body. They didn't even consider that I might be, gender variant, which I
Right.
was. So, I mean,
No,
I could have
absolutely.
taken estrogen, but I just did what the doctor told me.
Yeah.
And there's also a psychological toll. There's an entire arc in the book in this period of David's life where they talk about how the testosterone feels like it is killing the feminine inside of them. That, like, they
Mm.
feel like their
Mm.
sense of their own identity doesn't change, but their body changes and their, like, emotional regulation changes and, like, their perception in
So
society
you get
changes.
caught.
Yeah,
You get caught between the
they
2.
got, like, reverse gender affirmed.
Yeah. Yeah. So as a trans woman, I remember having what I consider to be a relatable experience to that, where I hit puberty and all of a sudden a world that I saw with a spectrum of emotions that I related to rainbow-esque, right? It was this colorful world that I could feel on so many levels, and as my body changed with testosterone, as I went through male puberty, I got more and more black and white in my emotional capacities. It was like a dampener was put on, or
Hmm.
somebody stripped me of the ability to feel this vast spectrum, and all of those energies that would have gone all over the place were then funneled into either pleasure or rage. And I remember
Yeah.
getting to a point with it where I got so upset that I couldn't cry anymore, and I got so upset about that and, like, violently, ragefully upset that I would poke myself in the eye to try and force my body to cry, and then they put me on Prozac.
Mm.
And this was in Montana before there was any
Right.
conversations or, language in the medical field about a transgender experience, and so nobody could relate in my medical spheres to my experience. They were just like, "Well, you're just turning into a boy. What's the problem with that?" And I was like, "Well, apparently that's the problem with that."
Right. That's
It's a
right.
sense of
It's
loss.
Yeah, it was horrible, and when I went onto hormone replacement therapy in my mid to late 30s, I started crying again. I started feeling in color again.
Mm.
The spectrum of emotions opened back up to me, and it was like waking up. It was
Mm.
like that scene in The Wizard of Oz or Pleasantville where everything went from black and white into color, and it
Right.
was this beautiful emotional connection to the world around me that I had lost.
that's beautiful.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
can relate to that because I don't cry anymore, but I cried a lot when
In a
I was
healthy way,
younger.
right? It's not like crying
Yeah,
in the way that, like, people who are
absolutely.
Right.
emotionally dysregulated people cry. It was crying
Right,
because of
right.
Right.
joy or crying because of empathy, and empathy was a thing that I lost.
Yes.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the patriarchy.
I feel like I had a very similar experience, but it was not anything to do with hormones. It was just purely to do with identity. And it was when I first started like accepting and publicly identifying as non-binary, it's like suddenly men don't cry doesn't apply to me anymore. And I like
Yes.
became a crybaby just because it was allowed. And for a little while, I was like crying over like feminine hygiene commercials and like
Yeah,
like literally anything.
It's freedom.
Hmm.
it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, yeah. And that's how we were created to be. I mean, we get here, and then it's our responsibility to tell the world who we are,
Right.
Yeah,
as opposed to the other way around.
And the world is telling you that you have to fit in this binary box,
right.
Right,
and there's no discussion of anything that isn't,
Yeah.
right, right.
which hurts everybody.
Yeah. Many of
Yeah,
them also seem unhappy in the box.
yeah,
Yeah. Well, some people will never have the bravery of coming out.
right.
Yeah.
Nobody or
Right.
even saying those things. They would live in that misery their entire life.
And
Yeah.
even if it's not a coming out thing, a lot of people who do identify with and fit into the binary never we've done a lot over the past few weeks of talking about social scripts, like societal scripts.
Uh, right.
Mhm.
And we've talked about how those scripts are limiting to what even a cisgender, heterosexual, comfortable binary man experiences in the way that they're allowed to relate to the world around them, even through heteronormative relationships where they
Very
can't,
constrained.
very
They don't
constrained.
even realize it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so those scripts deny people who fit the binary even access
Right.
to better relationships and better
Right.
connections.
But so much of our cultures are, like clothing, cosmetics, everything is fit into these nice binary boxes for people to buy things. I think it's
Yes.
Right.
pretty
I have
sad.
some women who don't buy pink vibrators. They're like, "I don't do
Yeah.
pink. I don't
Right?
do pink vibrators. I don't pay the pink tax."
Hmm.
I'm like,
Right.
"Fantastic."
The pink tax, that's so real.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just thinking, like, even hardware stores have, like, a women's tool section, and it's like it's the same tool, but it has, like, a flower print on it or something, or
Yeah, I know.
a pink handle.
And I always gravitate to those like, "Oh, that's cute."
They're only human.
Or it's a worse tool
Yeah.
and it costs more.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I wanted to mention there is another book that I highly recommend. Well, there's 2 actually. One is called Hermaphrodism and the Medical Invention of Sex
Ooh, I love
by
this
Dr.
already.
Alice Drager. It's because hermaphroditic babies were being born, like, to midwives that they decided when they went into hospitals and the midwives got left out, they'd have, lost my train of thought. It's an emotional issue, I guess.
Yeah.
But, um, but Alice Drager was a board chair at the Intersex Society, and she did another book where all these intersex people wrote chapters for her book called Intersex in the Age of Ethics. And I wrote chapter 8 in that book.
Very cool.
And it has 2 pictures of me, one before hormones and 20 years later being on hormones for 20 years, and is it really me? 2 different me's?
Yeah.
It's shocking. It's
Yeah.
called Intersex in the Age of Ethics by Doctor it's edited by Dr. Alice Drager.
Excellent.
But,
Nice.
I also the book that Davi and I wrote, I included those 2 pictures. So, there's lots of pictures in in
Yeah.
that book about from my life, so it's kinda cool.
We should say also, we're talking a lot about, the Intersex Society of North America, which David volunteered for, and there's a lot about it in the book.
But it's defunct now,
It's defunct now, so if you're looking for a modern organization that talks about this kinda stuff, we're pushing Interact Advocates for Intersex Youth.
and they're getting a partial well, they're getting 50% of the profit that we make off the book.
Yeah.
I'm not getting money.
There's a quarterly donation going to intersex advocates from the proceeds of the book.
Right.
Excellent.
That's beautiful. Can you send me the link to that organization? Like any of the stuff that we talk about today, I would love the links for it, and we can include it in the
Absolutely.
show notes.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
called interactadvocates.org, but we'll send you the link.
Thank you. I will include them in
Yeah.
the show notes.
Cool, cool, cool. Davi, you said that once upon a time that, most people don't know what their sex chromosomes are, right?
Oh, yeah, this is,
Right.
like it's an interesting feature of the whole thing that, like, David isn't diagnosed until they're 29 because they come in looking for an explanation for why they're sterile. Nobody's given them a medical explanation even though they've been examined. And so finally they do a karyotype test, and the karyotype test comes back that their sex chromosomes are XXY, which points to Klinefelter syndrome. But we don't do karyotype tests on people. So all of these people wandering around thinking, I'm a man, so I must have XY chromosomes, or I'm a woman, so I must have XX chromosomes. They don't actually know. We don't know how we don't know how common variations are because we don't even test people's chromosomes unless there's a problem or a variation or like the medical industry decides that there's something worth testing for.
Yeah.
So there's probably a huge amount of variation in our society, and people are genuinely unaware of it and wonder why they're so confused.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what my sex chromosomes are. Like, I'm I don't know if either of you have been tested, but the vast majority of people
Mm-mm.
don't know. So when people make that argument that it all comes down to chromosomes, they're arguing in a vacuum. They're fighting a ghost.
They won't accept reality.
So, yeah, reading that chapter in your book inspired me, and I have gone to my doctor, and it turns out that karyotype tests they're in network for me. So I have a standing ordered for a karyotype test. You inspired
Excellent.
me, and I never heard about it until I read your book.
Amazing.
Cool. Cool.
Interested to see what happens.
Yeah, so thank you. Me too, because there's always been, I've always felt outside of the gender that I was assigned with,
Uh-huh.
and I am curious as to whether or not there is a chromosomal reason for that, or
Sure.
if it's hormonal, or if there's any other pointers that might be factors to that,
I wanted
regardless
to
of feeling.
Yeah. I wanted to add that also there are women with XY sex chromosomes. It's called androgen insensitivity syndrome. And they usually have undescended testes, short vaginas, and the androgen in their body, in their testes, are insensitive, so they don't develop male.
Right,
Like they're immune to their own testosterone, essentially.
right,
Correct, correct. So
Wow.
their bodies feminize, and when they hit puberty, they go on estrogen to develop breasts. I mean, if they identify as female.
right,
Because
Right.
this is the whole thing. There's one's, physical anatomy, there's a gender identity, and then there's our sexuality. 3
2
different
different things.
issues, and a lot of people just say, "Oh, that's just all gay." But that's
right,
bullshit.
right,
Right.
It's
right,
not. It's
Right.
3 different biological
Right.
realities.
Right.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There's sex characteristics,
Yeah.
and then sexuality, gender identity, and gender presentation.
Right. And I present as looking very male because at 6'10", it would be very difficult to be female, although
Right.
I know a lot of tall transgender women, and I'm envious.
Eat me.
You know,
I'm
there
tall.
there are also some pretty fetching pictures of you in drag in the book.
That's true, that's true. I look pretty hot, but I was 27 at the time.
Yeah, who doesn't look good in 27?
Yeah. Sometimes
Yeah.
at the store, somebody shows up and then they identify as non-binary or trans, and their presentation is not that. So just because you see something one way doesn't mean it is.
Well, you can't judge a book by its cover. I
Right,
always say
No.
that.
No. And people wanna simplify complex life.
right. And just to drop this here, there are plenty of natal women,
Birthing persons?
birthing persons, sure, yeah, cisgender women
Mhm.
who are over 6 feet tall, and you can find them throughout the WNBA. Like,
Yes,
Yeah, of
Right.
and
yes.
course.
and they wear heels,
Brittany
right?
Briner, she's 6'9". I wanna
Right?
meet her.
Right? We should make that
See her
happen.
eye to eye.
Yeah,
That'd
Yeah.
be
definitely.
amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah, so it's not just in the intersex and transgender community that you have tall
right,
women,
right.
but societally, people give tall women the side eye. I would
Yeah.
imagine that tall women get disproportionately misidentified as transgender.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
Oh,
that's what's
yeah,
going on with
that's
these transgender bathroom bills now. Like, they're harassing cisgendered women over it
Mhm.
right.
because
Right.
they walked into the restroom of their sex and gender, and people said, "You're too tall," or "Too broad-shouldered," or
Ugly.
"Too ugly," "Your
Right.
chin is too square," "You must be." Yeah.
Rank bigotry. But people are using they gain political power by picking on somebody who's different than what they think is normal.
Right.
Right, and
Yeah.
we have a government that's been doing that. It's terrible.
And it's getting worse.
It is.
Yeah,
Yeah. They're establishing shifting sands and moving goalposts to keep
Right.
the citizens off balance enough that nobody can think through the discourse. It's fear mongering in order
yeah,
Sure.
to make them one of the only options for how to function.
Well, that's why we need to stand up and fight.
and be
And I mean,
visible.
I feel that because of my
Absolutely.
height and the fact that I've been told that I'm the grandfather of the intersex rights movement,
Yeah.
which I
Yeah,
take proudly. I feel that I have a unique place that I can help this fight.
yeah,
Don't you love that?
There's this
I love
wild
that.
narrative. It doesn't get to end in the book because the book ends before the Trump era. But
Right.
David was one of the original parties in the class action lawsuit in California that won the non-binary designation on government documents, right? So you
No,
can
and
now, yeah,
driver
on driver's
licenses.
licenses. Like normally there
Right,
was only M and F were the only options, and now X is an option. And the argument was completely salient, and that is that on government documents, you're asked to sign under penalty of perjury that everything in the document is true and factual to the best of your knowledge. And so if you don't have a true answer on the form, someone like David cannot legally and ethically fill out that form. And
right.
It's a great argument.
they won that case, and as a result, I went and got the X non-binary designation on my driver's license. And now in the Trump era, there's ambiguity as to the validity of that document in various contexts.
right.
And I also had in I think it was 2019, I was able to get my passport with an X on it, and just 2 days ago, I got my Canadian birth certificate in the mail, and it has an X on it.
Congratulations.
So I'm not male anymore, I'm an X. I am non-binary in not just in my physical being, but also in my gender identity.
That felt good, didn't it?
It did. It took me a year to get it. I gave the original birth certificate to Peter to hide or for his stuff, and he couldn't find it. So I had to reapply to get my birth certificate from Canada, and it's taken a whole year to get the document, and it came 2 days ago. So I'm really
Wow.
happy. I'm
Great.
really happy to have it at I'm keeping it in my possession. He's
Yeah.
not getting it.
There you go. Yeah.
We should set up who Peter is. There's a love
Okay.
story in the book as well. Peter
Right.
is David's husband of 47
8
years?
years, 48 years.
48 years?
Ooh, getting the big 5-0.
Yeah.
It's not the only love story in the book. Like, David had a relationship with a man named Keith. It's a very, like, polyamorous, queer
Right.
lifestyle kind of a story, and there is some debauchery, but it's not all debauchery. It is these are love stories that happen in these books,
Oh,
right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
disappointed.
Well, there's a whole
There's a
bathhouse
little
section,
bit,
but
Billy. There's a little
Okay,
debauchery. It's
good,
fine.
good.
Well, yeah, it talks a little bit about, the dysfunction in my primary relationship, in the bedroom, and we've always had an open relationship since the day I moved in with him in when did I move in with him? 1979.
Uh,
So, I think open relationships are healthy. I wish more heterosexual people were with them because there'd probably be less divorce.
I think it's
Mm,
changing. I think one of the reasons why people are so scared of the poly kink LGBT world
Mhm.
is they think they're gonna lose their kids.
Oh,
And I think what LGBT kink poly is doing is changing the nature of love and relationships and communications in a fundamental way.
yeah,
And I think healthy, honest people are doing that, and it's
yeah.
becoming more and more. I don't think it'll ever be dominant, but it's
You
certainly
never
growing.
know.
You never know. Yeah, it's true.
I like to imagine it's a little bit like how third parties influence the binary parties. Like, if people start flocking to the third party because we're just more emotionally intelligent, then
Right.
the
Right.
heterosexual binary world is gonna have to be like, maybe I should be reading some of these communication books. Maybe I should be reading some of these sexual health science books."
Mhm.
I was talking to a bunch of frat guys. They come into my store once a semester, and one of the guys brought up trans because he wanted to fight. You could tell.
"You want to fight?"
He wanted to fight. He wanted to cause an argument because he was
Huh.
preening in front of the other guys, okay?
Mm.
And you could just tell. And I told him, I said, "Look," and this is a heterosexual crowd, "Look, if you are good with your LGBT friends, they're gonna help you get laid. And women like to have sex with men who are comfortable with their sexuality. And you're comfortable with somebody who's different than you, that means you can be the best person you are, however that looks like."
Yeah.
And you can always say, "No, thank you, but I appreciate the compliment," and leave it at
Right.
that.
Yeah.
And leave it at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what it is that it's hurting them. That's
Yeah.
how they're gonna change.
If you're a straight man and you maintain queer friends, what that says is that you are carrying less shame about sexuality than the straight man who's completely homophobic and paranoid about it. And what that means
Right.
is that when you are in your heterosexual relationship with your cisgender girlfriend, there's less shame in the room. It's a safe place for her to bring up other non-traditional things because you've already
Yes.
Exactly.
communicated that you do not balk at a non-traditional thing.
That is a
Right.
beautiful
Well stated.
elaboration. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, essentially, it's all about better communication and all about honesty.
Yeah.
Yes. Honesty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To yourself first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Introspection is hard. It can be physically
It's
painful.
threatening to some people. It's threatening to people,
Yeah.
especially all the stories they've heard over the years. I
Yeah.
also I also wanna say that, a lot of this problem starts with the Bible and Christianity, and, I kind of didn't really wanna bring it up, but at the same time,
Bring it up.
Yeah.
what is male and female, and also eunuchs are also talked about in the Bible. And in the book, we say that my father called me a eunuch because every time there was a problem in our relationships, he'd always go to his Bible and try to find an answer. But that book was written so long ago. And I kind of feel like I wrote a book about my truth,
Right.
and
Right.
it's only been out for little more than a year, and if people dish my book, I mean, I don't understand when you can believe in something that was written 2,000 years ago, and
By
it's
who?
been changed how many hundreds of time by how many hundreds of people to fit their agenda?
Different languages.
I don't really have an agenda, I just wanted to tell the truth from my own experience.
Yeah.
And
I
that's what
appreciate
my
that
book
honesty.
is.
Yeah.
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 It's definitely been changed by one King James, that's for sure.
The Gospel of Bearded
Yeah.
Iris.
That's my fairy name, my radical fairy name, Bearded Iris. So I always
Nice.
have to keep the beard.
I should have worn my iris bow tie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's also a tremendous history in the book. David has multiple weddings in the book. There's this fight for marriage equality. There's the AIDS epidemic is covered in the book, and
Yeah.
we get this like firsthand account of what the Castro looked like in the like worst parts of the AIDS epidemic and the betrayal of the Reagan administration and the Feinstein administration. Uh,
Yeah.
Feinstein is the local.
I relate a little bit to that in a sense. I was running an Miss Kitty's the old style sex store in the mid-80s, and, they confiscated our poppers at the time because
Mm,
poppers were causing HIV.
no.
Oh, yeah, that whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and we did and the thing about so scary about HIV is before HIV, you could have sex and get away with it unprotected, and all of a sudden, you would have sex and you would die, and you didn't know there wasn't a cure, and you didn't know how long it was gonna go, and you're at the epicenter.
Right, right.
Mhm.
That's crazy. That's
Well,
scary,
that's
isn't it?
also in the book, a lot of that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and, some of us wonder why we're still here.
yeah,
Well, from my perspective,
Yes, yes, yes.
it's because we need elder queers, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
We need that
Role model.
knowledge, we need that experience, we need that history, and
Yeah.
every generation ages and feels, "Why am I still here?"
Right,
But
right.
those who don't study history are doomed to repeat its mistakes,
Well,
Yes.
I talk to queer folks and I'm like, "Have you heard of the AIDS quilt?" And they're like, "No, what's that?"
which is just sad.
Yeah.
Whether there's people here in San Francisco that don't know who Harvey Milk is. It's pretty crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
What?
But they're younger queer
Oh.
people.
Yeah, that's the other thing. There's, like, every generation, like, thinks that they're the first, and they think that the
I
historicals are
know.
theirs, and to some
Oh,
extent, like,
yeah.
right now, society is doing a huge disservice to the generation that comes after me and their queer experience because they're being talked about like it's a new thing. The opponents
Yeah.
of the LGBT rights movement are talking like this is all brand new and we've never seen this before. And if
Yeah.
you're a queer kid in rural Kentucky who doesn't know a queer elder and hasn't seen one for 100 miles, then you see Fox News say this is a new ideology and this is a new problem, and you think you're part of the new problem as opposed to,
Yeah,
like,
Right.
a multi-generational oppressed class.
that's
Right.
exactly
Right.
how I felt growing up in Montana as a person
Yeah.
who was
Yeah.
unknowingly transgender because there was no language in Montana for that in the '80s and '90s.
Mhm.
There's no gay rights organizations. There was no gay rights clubs in the high schools or barely in the university. So,
We
yeah.
need more diversity and inclusion.
Yeah,
We need more of it, not less of it.
yeah,
I did a, lecture once on the history of sex in Bozeman, and it pretty much you start with the HIV in the mid-80s,
Mhm.
and then you come to gay marriage, and what at the time it was 2015, and it's like, that's the fastest cultural revolution of our lifetimes. It's backsliding a little bit, but it's pretty incredible to think. I mean, if somebody would have said in the early '90s, the late '80s that there would be gay marriage, you'd be laughed out of the room.
yeah,
Yeah.
And a lot of gay people wish that hadn't happened. They wish we had gone through other things that we were pushing, like, I guess, polyamory, and there's other issues in gay life that are I mean, I think marriage is good for some people, but not for everyone,
right.
Sure.
you know?
It's an institution.
It's because it's an institution. It's because the marriage license is a very specific dynamic defined in law, and if the 2 people engaged in that relationship with the government don't, like, necessarily think that dynamic applies to their particular relationship, it becomes confusing. And
Right.
I think that we really like gay marriage is a milestone. It's a huge like crack in the edifice of this institution. But we need to go to a place where plural marriages are discussed and asexual,
Right.
aromantic marriage. Like, imagine a law that says a marriage isn't valid until it's consummated. Like,
Right,
like, does that mean asexual people are not allowed to get married?
Right.
My marriage has never been consummated.
Right, so this is my point.
right.
The
Right.
institution is as black and white thinking as the gender ideology, right? Like, relationships are vast and as vast as the people involved in them. So,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah,
marriage is gonna have to become a much more malleable institution as social structures change.
yeah.
And it doesn't have to be the fait accompli that you get married.
Yeah, true.
And then why would you have to penalize the society when you're not necessarily fitting in the mold that they think you should fit in?
And also, none
Right,
of this is the slightest threat to a heterosexual marriage.
right,
Right.
Like, the 2 people
Yeah.
involved in a heterosexual marriage can still, if they want, check all the traditional boxes and live their life that way.
right.
There's no reason somebody else having a non-traditional agreement in their relationship has any effect on anyone else's relationship.
But they sure feel threatened, don't they?
They
Uh,
do.
Yeah,
Well, they want control. They want control over everybody's lives, and it's stupid.
yeah,
I think they feel threatened for the same reason that they feel threatened by, like, the existence of queer visibility or even, like, divorce visibility. Like, if you they'll say things like, "Divorce is contagious." And so if one of their friends gets a divorce, they don't want their partner to know because they don't even want that idea put in their head. And
Right.
right.
it's like,
Right.
what you're really afraid of is that you all are not as happy in these boxes as you think you are. You're worried
That.
that someone is gonna show you there's a way out of this box, and that's gonna just be too enticing to stay where you are.
Well, I think that that's the whole secret. I think that's
That's
the
it.
whole secret of LGBT kink poly rights, and that is you can be the best person you can be, and you
Right.
can be happy. And
Right.
doing that, being happy, providing joy in this world, that's how you win,
And the people who
no
are the
matter what.
most terrified of that are the people who have set themselves up with the most to lose.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And joy is resistance.
Joy is
Joy is
resistance.
resistance.
Yeah.
Yeah. And bonus, you get it's joy.
Yeah.
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 Hmm.
David, do you wanna tell us about, your various weddings?
Well, in 1990, Peter and I were married in Redwood Grove in Saratoga, California, by the first openly gay rabbi in America, Rabbi Alan Bennett. And I told my
Awesome.
mother that they were gonna get an invitation to our life partnership commitment ceremony, and my mother kept saying, "This isn't a wedding, is it?" "Ugh."
Oh my.
And I said, "No, it's a life partnership commitment ceremony." But they
Right.
came with, 3 of their friends, and so it wasn't legal, but it was 1990 was the year after Peter and I took a train trip across Canada and, fell in love again. So we wanted to give witness to our relationship, and that's what we did in 1990, but it wasn't legal. But in
Yeah.
2004, when Gavin Newsom was marrying people at City Hall, Peter asked me to marry him, and I said, "Not without a diamond engagement ring." So I got the diamond, and by the time we made a date to get married at City Hall, they had closed it down.
No.
Yes, and then all the 4,000 couples that got married, everybody's, relationships were annulled
Oh
because it wasn't
no.
legal. It wasn't legal.
Uh,
Ugh.
that was the first time that that was happening nationwide. That was quite the event.
It was. Yeah, it kinda got Gavin Newsom on the attention of everybody.
Mm.
But, in 2008, when it was legal, before Prop 8 killed it, there was a 5-month window when it was legal, and that's when Peter and I got married, and we got married in Gavin Newsom's office with 6 of our friends present, and
Nice.
that has stayed, legal, but in November, when the Californians said, "No, we don't want that here," nobody could get married until the Supreme Court in 2015 made it legal for everyone in America.
Yeah.
But I think different states had different I mean, I don't understand the whole history of it, but, so we had those, and then we had a civil union 1 year, nothing's legal until it was in 2008 and then in 2015. So
Right.
I mean, a lot of people that are committed to each other have weddings that aren't legal for generations. People have
Right.
been having these commitment ceremonies, which, unfortunately, straight people can have as many weddings as they want and
Yep.
Right.
marriages as they want. I mean, how many did Elizabeth Taylor have? Like 8 or 9 or 10? She was married
Mhm.
that many times and it's all legal? That's what bothers me. I don't understand. Whereas gay people couldn't get married, but straight people could have as many weddings as they wanted
Right.
that were legal. That's just one of my gripes.
You could see how far we've come in such a little time. It's incredible to think about how fast rights have been moved worldwide. That's not
Yeah,
to say that it's completely unfair, continues to be unfair. If they took away choice, there's a damn sure chance that they're gonna try to take away marriage too.
Right. Yeah, it's the
Yeah,
ever-shifting sands and the pendulum
yeah.
swing.
maybe they should take it away for everyone.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah,
You know, you joke, but
Get rid of the institution.
I mean, I honestly agree. I think that the actual solution to the marriage debate is to just not have it be a government institution. If you look at the history
Right.
of the marriage license, its original purpose was to prevent interracial marriage. The original reason that this country instituted marriage licenses, as opposed to just social
Interesting.
marriages, was because they wanted the government to have permission or to have the power to tell interracial couples they couldn't have a license. That's why the country has marriage licenses on the books. It was
Oh,
The
wow.
original
entirely
great.
sin.
to exclude people from the institution of marriage, not to
Right.
institute marriage.
Wow.
Interesting. That is heavy.
Yeah.
Thank God it was overturned by the Supreme Court.
Well, yeah, interracial marriage was legalized, but the institution of marriage as a license was kept. And so they retained this power to decide who was and wasn't a legitimate relationship. And the fact of the matter is,
Right.
everything that the marriage license says about our relationship with the government could be handled in a contract. Like everything that is about love and partnership and commitment, those are all social institutions, right? But when you
Right.
talk
Yeah,
about the transfer of property, or you talk about medical proxy, or you talk about the
tax
adoption of
credits.
children or tax credits, those things can all be done with a corporate charter. There's no reason to have your relationship be this like government document.
Right.
Institutionalized bigotry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bigotry. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's not traditional marriage. The marriage license as it exists in America is not traditional marriage. It's a modern invention born of segregation.
Mm.
Woof.
Woof woof.
This is one of those systems of control, right?
Right,
Yeah, and
right.
we feel
Yeah.
like it's normal because our generation was born with it. But
Right.
you go back anywhere, 200 years, like who had marriage licenses in medieval Europe? Like no one didn't exist. Like
Right.
Who knows?
they had commitments to one another, and we all have that, and we can all do that.
Well, the funny thing is that you take something beautiful and something that is sacred, I think, when you commit to another person or persons,
Right.
and you make that a twisted part of our society. But that's changing. It's changed, and it's gonna continue to change.
Yeah.
Hopefully, hopefully, hopefully.
Yeah.
How are we doing, Hazel?
We are doing well. Yeah. Do we Oh, so to move this into more entertaining realms, um, I have been slid a little note that says that maybe I should bring up nipple play.
Ooh, my favorite.
So
Okay,
we were talking about
bring it on.
kinks a little bit, right? And talking about pleasure activism and
Oh, hang on. Okay, I'm
yes,
feeling better.
Does
get
everybody
it.
need to check their nipples?
I'm on it.
One,
Mm,
2, 3. All right, I'm all
Oh,
here.
oh, uh,
yep,
okay.
yep. Add
Mm,
attention.
yeah, my favorite activity. But because of my intersex body, I've recently been diagnosed with a benign chest cyst.
Oh no.
It's non-cancerous, and it's right next to one of my nipples, and I'm having it drained on Wednesday.
Good
That's
luck.
hot.
It went from the size of a pea to the size of a large grape.
Ooh,
Ugh, that's
at
awful.
least it's benign.
Yeah, I'm just glad it's not cancer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Interesting. Another parallel that we share. I had a single side mastectomy because of chest pain, which
Ah,
was from a benign growth which formed around the detachment and scar tissue from impact trauma. So,
Oh,
in
no.
other words, I had been, I'm a tall person back in the day, presenting male, working in
Right?
security, and I was kicked in the chest.
Oh,
Oh, so was it kind of that impact play?
Well, it was doing security and I got kicked in the chest. I don't know if it was
Oh,
I
it
wasn't
wasn't a
playing,
kink
that
thing.
person wasn't playing. It was not a kink
No,
thing. It was
no.
yeah.
yeah, it was yeah. If only.
Damage.
Yeah, it was damage, and
Yeah.
that damage stuck with me, and it continued to get worse. It formed my breast tissue detached, and
Mm.
this all happened before I came out of the closet.
Ah.
Actually, it was the impetus for me coming to terms with my gender, um,
Ah.
instead
The
of
injury was.
so the loss of my breast was
Mm.
I mourned because of my breast tissue detached, it formed scar tissue, it was chronically painful, it formed this cyst, this benign growth, and there was extreme pain. I could barely wear shirts without it hurting.
Ooh,
Wow.
And so instead
Wow.
of trying to do multiple procedures and repairs, at the time I had put on quite a bit of weight. It was during COVID, and they were like, "Well, we'll just do a gynecomastia surgery." And so they removed that portion of breast tissue, and my depression from the loss of my shape was what led
Mm.
me to the self-reflection, which allowed me to find my truth and realize that I am transgender and that I needed to
Not
have my presentation. I needed to be true to myself. I couldn't live without that
mm.
identity, without that
Yeah.
affirmation, that physical affirmation of my identity. And so
Wow.
that was how
that's a lot of soul searching.
it was, well, and it was COVID, and there was a lot of things going on with COVID. A lot of people came out of the closet through the isolation from
Right.
that social distancing. When you have
Right.
to sit with yourself for long enough, you have to converse with yourself.
That's
And
right.
a
Yeah.
lot of people found themselves in that isolation.
Mhm.
Right.
Wonderful.
Back to the honesty thing.
So you're
Mhm.
Yeah.
saying the vaccine spread transgender ideology?
And a new conspiracy is born.
Yeah. No, this is pre-vaccine. The vaccine, what that did is it gave people back the ability to fit into society where you could pretend that you didn't have a non-conforming part of yourself,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
because we all also, like, huddled up in our bunkers are suddenly faced with, like, "Is this something that I'm doing for myself because I'm the only one here? Or is this something that I do for public presentation?" Which I'm not doing anymore. And
And there
Right.
you've hit it right on the head again. That's it.
yeah,
Yeah.
this definitely jibes with me. Like, during COVID, I went from, like, only whispering non-binary stuff to my intimates in private to, like,
Right.
being willing to, like, publicly talk about it on social media or anywhere else I appeared.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to have a mammogram. I had ultrasound and a mammogram and then 3 biopsies
Yeah.
of what apparently was a cyst.
So they're not gonna remove it?
I think the biopsies ruptured the cyst, which is why it's a lot bigger now. So,
Mammograms, they put a lot of pressure on a lot of tissue, and I think that there could be a better way. If only, again, here's the
yeah,
soapbox, if only medicine would dedicate a little bit more into researching feminine anatomy, the female body,
yeah,
Or
right?
prioritize female comfort at all.
Medical misogyny.
If only
yeah.
medicine listened to women.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be nice?
We had a conversation about that last week
We
when they just
did.
mapped out the clitoris
Yep.
in a new way.
Mm.
I read an article that they've discovered the nerves that are evident for pleasure with a clitoris.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool. It's the only organ on the body that's strictly for pleasure.
Is that great?
Serves
I
no
think it
other
is.
purpose. It is enough of a reason to exist.
Yes.
I wish I had one.
I do this when I talk to people at the store. I'm like, "Okay, name me a euphemism for a penis." There's a gazillion, right?
Mhm.
When's the last time you heard a euphemism for a clitoris?
I overheard this in the park the other day. Someone said, "Do I look like a clitoris? Because 'Cause you're rubbing me the wrong way."
Oh, I like that. That was, like, better if they rubbed you the right way, but yeah.
Right?
That's
But
great.
it's like it's if you say clitoris, it's all of a sudden it's scandalous. It's like, well,
Yeah,
why
what do
is
you say?
that?
You flick their bean? What there words? There's
Yeah,
some, but not.
they had a magic elevator up elevator button.
Yeah.
Yeah, magic
What is
bean.
the correct pronunciation? Is it clitoris or clitoris? I don't know. I've
I
heard it
use
both
both.
ways.
I use
I
both,
Okay.
yeah.
yeah, I think that that's a lot like the tinnitus pronunciation
Uh,
differences, which is
yeah.
colloquial versus
Right,
English, right? Like England English?
Or
yeah,
Mm.
medical.
Yeah, clitoris and clitoris are both vernacularly correct at this point,
right.
It's like
colloquially.
vulgar Latin.
Yeah,
Yes,
and, the clitoris the glands have, like, 11,000 neurons, and the penis has roughly that amount.
Huh.
Actually, a little less, so think about how
Yeah.
sensitive that is.
I mean,
Yeah.
they're the same tissue. It's just been
Yeah.
molded differently.
One went in, one went out. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, that's like the ovaries and the testicles are the same tissue. It's just how did they develop, in the 2nd trimester when we were inside our moms, you know?
yeah.
Yeah.
What brings up another point is, like, the journey that you took led you to so many places that you would never done if you would've just stuck yourself in a binary world.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You learned a lot about yourself.
Are you saying to me or
Yeah.
to all of us?
Yes.
Well, yeah, certainly
Yes,
to you, David. Like,
Oh,
imagine
okay.
if you had, like, married one of those women early in the book,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
David was briefly were you engaged?
I was engaged, when I was 23 to my girlfriend back in Spokane,
Yeah.
right,
and she wanted
Spokane.
her own the reason we broke up was because she wanted her own children. It was 1971, and I couldn't give her.
Everybody had babies back then. You
That's
had to.
right, and women wanted their own kids.
Imagine if you didn't know that, like, you did not get the medical
Right,
diagnosis, and you instead
right,
married this woman in a, like,
right,
religious, conservative marriage whose purpose is to procreate, and now here you
right.
are, this queer, non-binary person crammed into this heterosexual, procreative relationship that's stifling for you. Like, all of the adventure and all of the self-exploration and all of the self-discovery that you did would have
Well,
been.
actually, I hadn't done it yet.
Right, but you wouldn't
exactly.
have gotten to do it, is my point.
That's
If you
true,
had
that's true.
conformed and
Right.
just, like, married into a heterosexual, procreative, religious marriage and stuck to
Oh,
it.
you'd have to live the lie.
I
Yeah,
Yeah,
imagine there
yeah,
would have been
have
a lot of
to
self-medicating going on. That's how people turn to
Yeah.
yeah.
drink out of
yeah,
That's why
depression.
people drink, they get onto drugs, and
yeah,
that's how they cope with their dissatisfaction.
and you'd have
Yeah,
still ended
Right.
up in the bathhouses, like, let's be honest.
probably.
Well,
Mhm.
Miss Kitty's there's a sex store in Spokane called Miss Kitty's, which I actually helped build back in the
Uh,
day, in the
uh-huh.
early '80s.
That was the name of the store that was in the place where Iratik is now.
Mm.
Yeah, in the mid '80s, I built a couple of sex stores in Spokane.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were then cruising.
Had you heard of Whitworth College?
Yeah,
Whitworth College was a Presbyterian school, and I graduated in February of 1970.
okay.
And when I came back in '71 and broke up with my fiancée, I got, mental health care by the new dean of men's students, and I saw him a couple of times a week just trying to, because I was really depressed. I was just severely depressed, and, he helped me learn to love myself, which was really key to my healing.
Did he try to put you into the binary box?
No, he basically
Huh.
said, "I'm not gonna" well, being, sterile was one reason, being bisexual was the other reason with my fiancée, and, he said, "I'm not gonna try to make you stop having, homosexual feelings. I'm gonna help you love yourself." And he did that, and
Wow.
That's
I'm
amazing.
really grateful to him. His name was Doctor David Erb, and I really am
That's
very
amazing,
grateful to him for that kinda, care mental health care that
especially
he
then,
Yeah.
especially
yeah.
there.
Yes,
'Cause
yes.
Spokane is not exactly the zone of enlightenment.
I wonder if it is now.
Mm, dunno.
They do have a gay community, and I know my old alma mater has a queer, support network, so
Yeah,
that's kinda cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
times change.
Times change, right. People grow up.
Well, let's
Right.
hope.
Right.
There's another
Yeah.
interesting feature of this book. There's a place in the book where David actually decides to begin writing a memoir, and then the book after that becomes about the process of writing a memoir, including writing classes and things like that. But Uh, the onus was originally a family project. The onus was not
Mhm.
like, the vision was
Right.
not a published work. The vision was something to
Right,
give to nephews because there was this
Right.
this need to feel seen in their own family by
right.
this generation in their family that they couldn't have children in, but they had nieces and nephews, and they're like, I think you said, David, "I want them to know about their weird gay uncle in San Francisco," right?
Their queer gay uncle in San
Yeah,
Francisco.
queer gay uncle.
Who they adore, I'm sure.
The true story.
And so there's a whole family component, and even, like, some of David's family has even helped promote the book. But over the course of the book, it becomes this larger thing. It becomes this community project. It becomes this activism. It
Mhm.
becomes this story that is speaking to the political climate we're in now. And so it went
Mm.
Right.
from, like, family to, like, chosen family, meaning, like, me and some of the other people in our community, and then it became, like, public community project.
A public community project?
Yeah, like, it is, like, relevant to the larger queer community, it's not just
Oh,
relevant to
yes.
David's nieces and nephews, right?
So
Yeah,
it's a
right.
it's a heroic journey.
It
This is
is,
Yeah.
where you were and where you are.
and I used to call myself a noble nomad.
Yeah,
That's who I was for a long time with all my international traveling. And I do
Mhm.
talk about the times that I lived overseas. I lived in Tripoli, Libya when I was 19. I lived in, Chiang Mai, Thailand when I was 23, and I lived in Alexandria, Egypt when I was 25. So
wow.
Wow.
those are included in the book, along with the 4 tall women I dated.
Was there
Yay!
any woman taller than
Yay,
you?
tall women. Oh, hell no. They were either
Yeah, but
they were they
the
were
tallest man in Thailand, right?
yeah, I
Oh my
was.
gosh.
I was
Yeah.
the tallest man in Thailand, and people would go, "Yay, big giant."
Yeah,
Yeah.
David became
Yeah,
a celebrity while they were teaching in Thailand.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, if you're tall, you gotta I guess you just have to really, rejoice in it that that's what God gave me, and,
Yeah.
I've really made peace with it all, and I'm so grateful I'm still living, almost 79, and I've had a wonderful life. I've been blessed in so many different ways, and,
Oh, that's the other thing. It's just funny, it's like it's almost like it had to be written as fiction. There are things that happen in this book that are, like, so, like, narrative, but when David is trying to perform heterosexuality, they're trying to date tall women. They're gravitating towards tall women because they're trying to be that that couple on top of the wedding cake, and so David needs a tall woman because they are so tall. And then when they come
Right.
out and they end up with a real partner, David, how tall is Peter?
5'4".
Right. So, David stand like, if you guys have ever seen the movie, But I'm a Cheerleader, do you know this movie?
Oh, yes.
So you remember the couple that does that rescues the gay couple that rescues them from the conversion therapy center?
Not really. I only saw it once, and it was a while ago.
I seriously suspect that whoever cast that movie had met David and Peter because the casting of that movie is so close to David and Peter as, like,
Hmm,
the giant is maybe you remember Bull Shannon from Night Court, it's that actor, right? And then this
Okay.
cute little husband that's, like, 2 heads shorter than him, and so
Oh,
there's a whole, like, giraffe and turtle motif in the book and in their house, and
yeah.
it's just amazing how it all susses out. But, like, you think in your mind, because of society and pressure and conformity, all these things, you have to fit into this little picture of a couple. And then when you meet the person who's actually the love of your life, they're the practical opposite of that picture.
Hmm.
yeah.
That's true love.
I'm 18 inches taller than Peter.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And I wanna mention that Davi did all the graphics in the book and did the cover.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
So there's 2 turtles on it, and the top turtle is handing
Uh-huh.
a giraffe a rose, and then the Golden Gate Bridge is in the background.
Yeah.
And I had, Davi add, "It's not a children's book," in a heart on the cover,
Yeah.
because a lot of people were thinking, "Oh, it's a children's book."
Yeah,
Yeah.
Right.
it's like Jack and the Beanstalk or something.
See, but it doesn't that fit into the stereotypes? If it has color or it has cartoon animals, that it has to be children?
Yeah, if it's whimsy, it must be to
Yeah.
lure children.
Right, right. We don't
Precisely,
want,
when it's actually just a nice little cute piece of art.
Which speaks more heavily to the people and their mental health who are placing that judgment. If you can't
Right.
experience joy and whimsy and color, and you're telling not just everybody else, but yourself that people who experience joy and whimsy and color are weird, what does that say about your experience of the life that you're living?
Yeah,
Mm,
Mhm.
yeah.
yeah. I like whimsy.
It's
Whimsy is the
great.
best.
It really is. It really is.
It's a magnificent piece of work.
Hmm.
Thank you, thank you. I hope you
Yeah, I
enjoy
look
reading
forward to
it.
reading it, yeah.
Yeah. And in the back of the book is a list of recommended readings, books, movies, and also, other, interviews that I've done.
Mhm.
Perfect. That's
And
great.
organizations.
Like, they're all listed as links, so, that I mean, it was if it was a virtual copy, it'd be a lot easier to see it other than typing in the link into your computer, but
Right.
Yeah.
we've sold about 1,000 books, so that's probably
Yeah.
pretty good.
I took a rough estimate a while ago. I gotta double check to get a specific number, but I think it's just over 1,000 books.
Fantastic. That's great.
And we had 4 readings in San Francisco last year.
Do you have any planned coming up for 2026?
We don't have any plan, but we totally should. We need to
Yeah.
get back into that. The one of the This is kind of another sense in that it's a community project. These readings that we did, we pick a couple of chapters and we talk about the book like we're talking about now, and we're there with an audience, and then there's a Q and A. And there were people that came to multiple readings to come back to the Q&A to tell us how they responded to the book and how it affected their relationship with their family. People would come in and say,
Oh,
"Oh, I
that's great.
finally understand this, like, intersex cousin I
Yeah,
never understood before. I finally, like, made peace with
Wow.
my father," or whatever. Like, there's this sense in which there was this community building in the audience where David's story resonated with these people, and it was the healing for people.
That's awesome. That's so great.
that's exactly the reason to get and promote the book.
To
That's
educate.
beautiful.
It's all about educating about difference.
Well,
Right.
and something that Billy says a lot is that art changes people. Art is one of the
Mhm.
best ways to influence society, and
Yeah.
literature is, I mean, it's a beautiful art.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. It's also it's not political in the sense. It's not like a firebrand demand for equal rights or anything. Like this is just like a sincere human story that humanizes the protagonist so much that you can't demonize these variations.
Right.
Right.
Variations are all through nature.
Yeah.
Right.
It's in animals. I mean, there are animals with my sex chromosomes.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's a reason for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if people realize that not all of us were meant to populate the planet, I'm really happy that a lot of us can't reproduce because we already have 8 billion people on the planet.
Oh, for real.
And I do
Right.
plug Population Connection in the book because I've been a member of it for 35 years or so. It used to be called Zero Population Growth. It's a really important group that's trying to unfortunately got a funding cut from the Trump administration, but they're trying to teach women how they can control the size of their families and we don't need 100 billion people on the planet. I mean, we already have water shortages and populations of people going from this country to that country, and I mean, it's really
Yeah.
a mess.
The carrying capacity of the Earth is probably around 2.5 billion people, and we're
2.5
well past
billion,
that.
we're way over it.
We can't continue what we're doing. Just
No,
can't happen.
no, no.
No.
Wow.
Well, it's been an honor speaking with you,
Yeah.
Yeah, thank
both of
you,
you.
thank you for having us on.
Thank you
Yeah,
so
Billy,
much.
great to
Yeah.
meet you. And Hazel, thanks for organizing
Yeah.
this.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely my
Yeah. Yeah,
pleasure.
thank you. Thank you, Hazel.
I want to say you can find the book on Amazon and Barnes and Noble, Memory of a Reluctant Giant by David Strachan. I am also nortonpress.com, which is my own publishing house, where you can see other books of mine.
Excellent.
And we're working on an audiobook.
Yeah, we're currently recording an audiobook.
That's a good idea.
One last thing before we go. You had said that you really love connecting with tall women and going out and doing things. So, how about if I get myself a pair of 6-inch stilettos, then I will
You'll
be
be
your
taller
height.
than me.
No, I'll be exactly your height. Um, and
Just
then
remember I shrunk an inch.
right?
Picture
Well,
or it
so did I.
didn't
So did
happen.
I.
Picture or it didn't happen.
We'll go
Pictures
out
or it
on the
didn't happen.
town. How's
We
that
will.
sound?
Yeah, we'll have to go out for
Yeah,
brunch and mimosas.
that sounds great.
We can
I'd
wear
love
tiaras.
to.
Amazing. All right. Well, Davi, David, thank you so much for coming on. Billy, it's lovely as always. Thank you for
Always.
all of these opportunities that you present for us and this artistic space. This has been Tales from a Sex Store. Happy
Happy
orgasms.
orgasms.
Happy orgasms. They're bliss.
They're bliss.
More bliss and pleasure.
More bliss and pleasure.
Thank you guys for everything. This was a
Yes.
blast.
Thank
It
you. It's
really
great talking
was.
to you guys. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks.
yeah.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye.
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 Bye-bye.